Hello and welcome to another Swiss round of the Japan Championships. My name is Jake. We're going to be doing some unique English commentary over the championships, just as we always do, your premier place for official, unofficial English commentary of the Japan Championships. It's going to be an interesting one, as you probably saw by the title and thumbnail. One deck that, we've seen a ton of in Rob Lucci, but one that we haven't seen a lot of with Red Green Smoker. Going to be an exciting one, and just want to let you all know, as I showed you before, I'm not the official live stream. The official live stream is in the link in the description below, so please go check that out if you want to watch it. And let's just go ahead and hear from a word from our sponsor. Whether you love opening packs or going out to buy singles, make sure to log all your cards on your phone through OP TCG DEX. It's the ultimate companion app for all things One Piece trading card game. Whether you're collecting cards, building decks, or looking to level up your game, this app has you covered. Listen, there's a lot of perks within this app on your phone. If you're like me and don't remember what amounts of cards you have, there's a really easy filter system within the app. And honestly, that's just scratching the surface of this app. You can download this app for free on both the App Store and Google Play Store. But you can also get the pro version of this app free for 30 days just by using my code Atrocious. I mean, honestly, it's a win-win. You get a great app that I use to be able to log my cards, right? And you can do it as well. And you're helping support the channel for free. The download link and instructions to redeem your trial are in the description below. Don't miss out now. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, Red Green Smoker, kind of the talk of the town of this tournament. The only one of the 63 players entered in this event. Smoker, if you do not know, Punk Hazard Navy from the OP10 set, OP10 set, has an effect on opponent's turn. All of your Navy or Punk Hazard type characters gain 1,000 power, as well as having an activate main once per turn. If you have a character with 7,000 power or more, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. So we'll show you the list at the end of the video, as always, after the match. But what this deck tries to do is utilize a lot of the Dawn, reuse a lot of it to play multiple things down in a single turn, right? If you play like a 7-cost character down on the field, there's ways for you to get 3 of those Dawn back. And especially on a 10 Dawn turn, that would mean that you have 6 Dawn available for you to attach to characters, play down another 6 cost or less, etc., to do whatever you want. This list is pretty interesting, I feel like, in a couple different spots. It's going to be interesting to see how well it does into Rob Lucci. Now, Rob Lucci, we know as well as any other deck, it seems like, coming out in OP07, has been dominant since its arrival. When attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck and give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost for the turn. Extremely good leader effect, ultra consistent in a lot of facets, not every single facet, right? Because you are milling 2 random cards from the top of your deck, but getting that -1 helps in so many situations, and we're going to see if the minusing can stay ahead of Smoker reutilizing the Dawn and putting down characters on the field, going a little bit wider. And so we've got the starting hand for this Smoker. Nothing super surprising, only 1 card in there that is surprising. You got a 1-cost Virgo, that's basically the Punk Hazard Searcher. 2-cost Don Quixote Rosinante, the 7-cost Hody Jones, kind of a staple in a lot of green decks, and then also the 3-cost 2K Tashigi that came in OP11, or that came in OP10, I'm sorry, OP11 not out yet. The interesting card that we've got in the hand is Bakaret, I believe, a nice little blocker. We'll talk about that more. But for Lucci, got a Brook, Kaku, Jack, Tempest Kick, and Ice Age. So honestly, not a bad hand in general if you're the Rob Lucci right now, right? You've got some removal, you got a little bit of draw on that Tempest Kick, also the Ice Age, right, to be able to get rid of a character right away. And we'll see how this goes. Smoker getting the first turn, right, going to be able to play that Virgo right away. And now we're moving in. Virgo finding a Punk Hazard card other than Virgo. We'll see what it can grab. Looking at the hand here, you do have a couple Tony choppers. So especially if you're playing Virgo, you play that staple 2K Tony chopper right there, blocker, as we've seen in previous videos. Very, very good card. And Rob Lucci to start off the turn, top decking a Spandam. It's going to get a Searcher of his own, using that Spandam to find a Spandine. And with nothing else right here, we'll see if he decides to use the Tempest Kick right now, maybe draw another card. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. You always draw one card off the Tempest Kick, but if you don't have 10 or more in the trash, well, then you don't get the -3, but the draw is valuable in itself. Smoker, just going wide right here, doesn't really have a 3-Don play, right? No other Punk Hazard Virgo to throw out on the field, so might as well just swing 5 twice, try to get cards out of the hand. Take 1 life first as Rob Lucci, but now you probably got a counter out of one. You don't want to hit another one. At this point, you're going to be able to get rid of the Virgo with a simple Brook, but definitely the aggression is not something that you want to see entirely. Going to 4 Dawn in this upcoming turn. Did find a Gecko off either the life or the top, or I'm sorry, the life at that point, now having the top deck, which is going to be nice for the long con of this game, as you already have a Rebecca in trash. So now just going to be looking for ways to try to clear the board. You got another Tempest Kick, which is really, really nice. Might see like a 6,000 power swing with leader, maybe play the Brook down at this point, but playing the Spandam first. And one thing that you do have to remember, he announced that swing on the Spandam, that Smoker gives all of the Navy or Punk Hazard type characters plus 1,000 power on opponent's turn. So even though the Virgo is listed as a 2,000 power swing, the Spandam doesn't do anything to it because the Virgo is actually 3,000 power on the opponent's attack. So that's one of the things that you really need to know heading into a lot of matchups, is you need to know all of the leader effects. And it's not really imperative at this stage of the game because, like I mentioned earlier, you can just play Brook, right, and get rid of it. You don't really have any other play, in my opinion, outside of that, but just one of those things if you're curious. So does use leader effect again on this 6,000 power swing, is going to take a life. Multiple Rebeccas are in the trash now, as well as a 6-King pistol. And now Brook coming in, clearing out that Virgo, and only 1 body on the field for Smoker. Smoker is going to go in now to a 5 Dawn turn. I think they found a Monette in there off the top of the deck. Monette will be kind of nice to give rested Dawn to your leader, but also minusing power on an opponent's side of the field could be really good. But you're not really battling any characters yet, so you might want to save Monette for the next turn, right? 6 Dawn turn seems like it could be a good time to play that. On a 5 Dawn turn, to be honest, we might see an angle of the Baccarat and also the Rosinante at this point, but it's just going to start out with a 6,000 power Smoker swing. The 6,000 power swing either going to command a 2K that's in the hand, right? We do see that Kaku right there, or claim another life. You know you're only getting 1 life as the Lucci in this turn, and so the Tony Chopper being played down, passing off the turn. We'll see if he can get rid of this Chopper before the Chopper blocks. Chopper, just a great red card that's included in pretty much every red deck since its release in OP10. On opponent's turn, gains 2,000 power, so it's essentially a 6,000 power blocker. 7,000 power with the Smoker effect. Actually, great value. I just realized that synergy right there on opponent's turn. Very, very cool. But in this matchup specifically, that 7,000 power, although pretty good in a lot of different situations, is not really going to help you against a black deck that is focused around minusing your cost. Looks like you've got 6 cards in the trash now as Rob Lucci. With this leader effect, you'll go to 8 cards in trash, but you're 1 away from being able to utilize the Tempest Kick, right? Because now with the Tempest Kick, you'd be at 9 cards in trash. So using that leader effect swing is going to go ahead, get that 6-King pistol, and also the Suru. Did end up blocking with that Tony Chopper right as a 7,000 power blocker. Gonna force and say, okay, you need to either get rid of this, because if you try to swing a lot with Brook added, it's not going to work. So using another Spandam, this Spandam is going to get you above 10 in the trash. Finds a nice 2k Khalifa. Can't complain about that on a 6 Dawn turn right now. And with the rest of the Dawn is just going to go ahead, play a Kaku. Kaku is going to put a couple cards into the trash and then KO a 3 cost or less. That's going to fit perfectly for the Tony Chopper on the field because you did that -1 earlier with the Lucci. So pretty good stuff right now from the Rob Lucci. We'll see if the Smoker can continue in this one. And it looks like, I think, found the 5-cost Smoker off the top of the deck. I think that was that top deck right there. It's hard to tell with alternate arts, but yes, it is that 5-cost Smoker. One of the premier cards that came into this game. We could see an angle potentially of Hody Jones, maybe thinking about playing Hody Jones and just rushing down the Lucci player in general, just saying, okay, I know you have 1 2k in hand, but how much counter do you actually have in hand, right? You've already taken 2 life. We're at an even 3 each. Would put me down to 2, but am I super worried about that right now? That's going to be the big question. One of the things that you could do as this Smoker, you do have both the 5-cost Smoker and the 3-cost Tashigi in hand. You could be able to play both of those down, right? Smoker would be 5-cost, and then through the Smoker and Smoker effects, right, of both the character and leader, you'd have enough Dawn to play that 3-cost Tashigi on the field. You put a 2k out on the field, but if you did, that Tashigi would be able to protect one of your characters, being that Smoker, but instead decides to use the Hody Jones. Hody Jones is going to come in and swing now at, or actually swing first with the leader. And so resting both the Kaku and the Brook, really just going for board control at this point. And so with the Kaku being 6,000 power, the Hody Jones being 8,000 power, now we have a difference between 5 and 4 as well on the Smoker leader and Brook. You would have to commit a 2k to get out of this, but it would basically concede your Kaku, and which one is more valuable is really the question that you're trying to ask at this point, right? Because Kaku now is essentially a vanilla character, can't really do anything else, but Brook is always active. So opting to save the Brook right here on just a 2k. Going to be interesting to see if the Hody Jones goes in and swings at that Brook, says, you know what, the Brook does do that -1, and I know this Hody Jones might be going away sometime soon, but I'm going to play the Rosinante. The Rosinante, really nice, right? Because your Hody Jones is rested since it had Rush, when it gets KO'd right on opponent's turn, you can trash that character instead. This is very good for black matchups, right? We know that there's an Ice Age in the Rob Lucci's hand, so if he goes in and uses Ice Age, maybe tries to do a KO effect on the Hody Jones instead of just battling it, that Rosinante is going to be there to save him. And so if he makes a choice on what he is going to KO, it's probably going to have to be the Rosinante more than anything at this point. And you got to play down bodies. Does have a Jack on the field. Jack would be able to remove the Rosinante, but you wouldn't really have much else to do for the other Dawn that you have available, having an 8 Dawn. And so does start out with a 5,000 power swing with leader effect, just going to try to do some poke damage, building up the trash, seeing what he can get off of a potential Gecko play, if anything. And so this 5,000 power swing, how much do you actually counter at this point? I think maybe the Monet, choosing to get rid of that one is an interesting choice. I would have thought maybe if they like slam down Jack on the field and use Jack effect, maybe you want to keep Monet around to be able to put 2 Dawn and also minus 1,000 power on the Jack for your Hody Jones and leader potentially, but you still have plenty of good cards in your hand at this point. And so now goes off with a 6,000 power swing right here. You do have a 2k in a Tashigi. You have multiple 2ks in hand, and so those 2ks, one of those could be nice to just get rid of at this point, right? You wouldn't have any more attacks left on the field, and you can basically guarantee that your Hody Jones is going to stay alive, right? Because you didn't opt to block with the Rosinante. And yes, that Tashigi going down right there. Going to be resting all 8 for a Gecko. Gecko, one of the best cards in the game, especially for black, is going to be at least grabbing a Rebecca, right? The Rebecca is going to be able to grab another 2K, and looks like they're not opting to fill the rest of the field with a 1 cost. Makes sense, right? You don't really have anything that you want to do at this point, and with the Rebecca effect, grabbing a Brook, putting that Brook down onto the field is going to go ahead and KO the Rosinante, right? The -1 from leader on that Rosinante, and then the Brook. Going to be really nice. You love to have that Rosinante doing its job right there, and might honestly play another one on this turn while you're at 9 Dawn. You have so many different plays that you can make at this point with the 5 cost Smoker. You could just go ahead and play another Hody Jones, right, if you wanted. But you got to be careful alongside Hody Jones, because Hody Jones, although it's an incredible card and a great one for matches such as this, you definitely don't want to take too much life. So is going to attach 2 and swing 7. Looks like maybe at the Kaku, I think, or maybe going into lead. The facial expression on the Lucci player was very interesting and funny to watch. But if it's going to Kaku, right, all you need is just a 2K, but decides to Rebecca block. I think was going at lead there. And then Hody Jones kind of doing the same thing, kind of rushing in to the Rob Lucci. Is going to go ahead, play that 5 cost Smoker. I absolutely love this card. If you saw us talk about our openings with the OP10, right, gets many Dawn back, 3 Dawn back through the leader effect and the 5 cost Smoker effect that was put on the field, right? Smoker being able to, as a character, restand 1 Dawn, and then the Smoker leader restands 2 more Dawn, right? So effectively, the Smoker was a cost of 2, and with the rest of the Dawn, go in and play the Rosinante and the Tashigi right there. The Tashigi, like I mentioned, really, really nice, especially if any characters are to be KO'd, right? Green characters specifically, you can rest the character instead. And then with the combo of Tashigi and Rosinante, you've basically protected your big bodies, right? Rosinante protecting the rested characters, while Tashigi protects any other character on the field, right? Your active characters. And so it's just such a good combo, and one of the reasons why red-green Smoker could be such a good play heading into these championships. Going to be really interesting to see how this turn plays out for the Rob Lucci player. Just reading, making sure they have everything correct on there. You do have to remember that the Punk Hazard cards, right, of the Smoker and Tashigi are 1,000 more, right? So hypothetically, if they try to KO the Smoker, right, you can opt to rest the Tashigi instead. That Tashigi is going to be at 5,000 power. It's listed as 4,000, but with the leader of giving 1,000 power to Punk Hazard type and Navy characters, the Tashigi is going to gain that extra 1,000 power boost. Rosinante, also a Navy card, by the way, in case you were curious, is effectively a 2,000 power blocker. And so is starting out with a leader swing right here. Going to be swinging 5 at lead, milling 2 more cards. Does have another Gecko in hand, so especially if you have the Gecko, you want to be able to get a value right off of it with the Rebecca, but is just going to minus the Rosinante, I believe it was there. So 5,000 power at lead, the Rosinante being a 1 cost. The Brook is going to be able to get a KO on that guy, and with a full 10 Dawn, might see something like an Ice Age or something come in, but decides to take this life. It's going to be another 3 cost Baccarat in there, and now the Brook swinging, KOing the Rosinante. The power doesn't matter, right? Can't get KO'd. But here's an interesting thing. So with Tashigi being able to save any green character, right, ends up saving the Rosinante right there. So forces another KO effect or a block from the Rosinante before they can do anything. So 1 Dawn looking to be committed at this point. Gonna really try to get the Rosinante to block, right? Gonna have to try and get some KOs at this point, right? In terms of battle, maybe even swinging at the Tashigi. So looks like it's just going to be 7,000 power over at the 5,000 power Tashigi. Potentially. Yes, it looks like 7,000 power at the 5,000 power Tashigi. Let's see how much counter he maybe dumps from hand. to be able to get rid of this. You know, probably once the gecko swings, you can't save this, right? But it could be interesting if just a 2k, 1k comes out of hand. But Ops, you know what? Tashigi did its job. I'm going to let this go away right now. Hody Jones still being protected by the Rosinante right now. And so 8 Dawn being rested, another gecko coming down at this point. Oh, no, actually a Jack. I'm sorry, that was 7. I miscounted. Jack is going to be able to do that rest, draw 1, trash 1. And you do have to wait until the trash 1 happens before you KO the Rosinante. But it's going to be able to get rid of that Rosinante on the field, and now you can freely swing into the Hody Jones, attaching 1 Dawn at least to the Gecko. Going to be swinging just a 2k, 1k to get out of it, as it's an easy get out, and then Tempest Kick ends the turn to draw a card, and we move back into Smoker's turn. Drawing a Sanji right there. The Sanji could be nice, but you might want the immediate value at this point. So what do you do? As someone who is not fully caught up on One Piece, I'm going to get the Smoker and Tashigi mixed up all the time. The 5-cost Smoker, right, has Banish on it. So if you can get a life off of this, might be really, really nice for you to be able to potentially swing in for game with the rest of the Dawn on this turn. So is going to go ahead, attach to swing 9,000 power. That's a banish right there. Another 9,000 power from the Hody Jones takes this life, and then playing down another Hody Jones right here. Going to be taking the life. You got to do this in order. You take the life, right? Rest 2 things. You swing in once again, and you use the Smoker and Tashigi effect to get 3 more Dawn and swing 11,000 power to claim the win. Smoker getting the win in that one, beating Rob Lucci on the backs of not only its aggression, but protection. Kind of a little bit of counter to the black style that we've saw. So let's go ahead, let's look at some deck lists. So although we have the official Smoker deck list that we'll show you in a second, the Rob Lucci deck, we don't have the official one, but it's Rob Lucci. Not really anything has changed since EB02 or even OP10's release out here. It's essentially the same deck. It's all about really like what kind of style choices do you want to use when you're building in this. We did see some tech cards within this deck, right? 16 gun pistol is a great option that we've seen, as well as Kaku, right? Great characters and events to be able to utilize in this list. But there's some other ones revolving around the black engine, right? I kind of call these 3 the big 3: Gecko, Jack, and Brook. Doesn't feel like a black deck without those, as well as the Rebecca, right? Just comboing so well with so many of these pieces. There's some great cards that are utilized in this meta that help a lot of matchups, such as Soap Sheep, right? Being able to -2 a couple different things for just 1 Dawn can really help combo out with a Rob Lucci, right? Trying to defend the field, trying to KO lots of different things. Kaku has definitely been a mainstay in Rob Lucci decks the last set or 2 in the Eastern meta. I really like this card in my Rob Lucci decks. Just another CP9 type card, and at worst, well, has a 1k counter on it. But yeah, not too much more to say about Rob Lucci, because it's been the same thing that we've talked about every time we talked about Rob Lucci. Now, here's the official Smoker list from our player within this tournament, and once again, Smoker, really nice for being able to restand Dawn and give some extra power to your characters. We saw the value of something like Tashigi in here, right? Protecting any green character on this effect, but also the Rosinante, just doing any rested characters, right? So if you've got some red rested characters in the Sanji, Tony Chopper, Monette, right? Ben Beckman, although we didn't see in this game, being able to trash a 6,000 power character. We've talked about Ben Beckman before, especially in like the set review, buy list, stuff like that this is just a generically good red card, right? You're going to see this in a lot of lists. This deck also played Eustace Captain Kidd in here, which has a lot of value and makes a lot of sense why you play both the Rosinante, right, and also the Baccarat, right? Baccarat is a really interesting tech in my opinion. We saw it in the hand, we didn't see it come down in play, but for maybe decks that don't have like cost reduction KO or bounce back type stuff, maybe like sort of like your Shanks matchup, this could be a really interesting card because you can trash one card from your hand and give your leader plus 2,000 power for a battle, right? So it's essentially like any card in your hand can be a live 2K. Your extra Hody Jones that you have, right? If you don't want to play them, they have no counter on it. Just pitch it and be 2,000. Some useless Captain Kids that you don't need because you're playing down Hody Jones every single turn. Just get rid of it for 2,000 power. This list is super cool and super interesting, and I know that more videos are on the way of Smoker. I don't know how many more videos, but I know that there's at least one because I saw my friend, he was messaging me about how Smoker was doing pretty good, right? So maybe we'll see it in some later Swiss rounds and stuff. But that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it, and I hope that you join us in the next video. Again, we're just going to be posting these videos as they go on, right? I'm trying to get out 2 videos a day of this tournament. So make sure to subscribe to see the rest of the way and also hit that bell so you know when the notifications go off and a new video is posted right away. See you later.